Okay, welcome folks to the Hoopsters Parents Cafe, a parents community of a different kind with special focus on single, adoptive and special needs parenting. Parents Cafe is a part of the bigger vision of creating an inspired community involving parents, children and schools, which we call the Hoopsters League of Action Heroes. At Parents Cafe, you get to interact with other parents, hear their stories, share your own and get access to genuine experts when you need them, especially in the area of mental health. In short, it's all about the support that you need to really enjoy your parenting journey. Today, we are in conversation with Gargi, an online purchase manager at, what design are you in?
RPI Designs.
IPI.
RPI.
RPI. Why did RPI disappear? Okay. Today, we are in conversation with Gargi, the online purchase manager at RPI Designs, Ohio. She is here to share with us the stories of bringing up an autistic child. Okay. Gargi, first of all, thank you very much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you, Bala.
Bring up a child is hard enough, and bring up a child with special needs definitely takes something special. And people like you amaze me, with the fact that you still have the smile after all the effort that you have put in to bring up your little girl, Titli. The way you have. Nothing a better motivation than that. So for the audience, if anybody wants to ask questions, you can share them on the comment section or the chat section, and we'll get back to you. So Gargi, we begin here.
Yeah.
Let's begin with the most cliche question, and we'll then go on to the bigger ones. What were your first thoughts when you were told that Titli suffered from autism?
Titli was born in 2012, so everything was going fine. First 11 months was a smooth ride because she started getting her milestones at the proper age also. But one thing that struck us as a parent was she was not able to communicate, or verbal communication is missing. So that struck us, and after like moving to here and there with many pediatricians, we finally landed up with a child development person, and he said to us that this is autism. Frankly speaking, when we first heard of autism, we never had an idea also what it is. So for us, it was like something very new. We have never seen a kid with this kind of a problem. So how to deal with that is a very long story after that. First of all, we tried to know that what is it? What exactly is the disease? So we came to know it's a big neurological disorder umbrella. So autism is not coming with a certain kind of behavioral issues or physical issues. So it is a vast diversity of issues that it varies from child to child. So first initial 1-2 months, it went on into realizing exactly what has happened, and then started the early interventions. When we realized that, okay, it's a long journey ahead. It is not going to get cured in a year or a two. It is not something like that. She has to live with that autism for the rest of her life. So then started the early interventions, and slowly we came to know the different facets of this disease, the problems associated with it, how to deal with them. That's how our journey started.
But you told me that you first noticed that she was not communicating or talking. Were they the only symptoms, or were there any other symptom that sort of made you question her, situation?
No, for us, the first thing that struck us was her lack of communication skill. Other than that, she was like any other normal kid of that age. She was diagnosed around 2.5 years of age. So she was okay in all the other spheres. Only thing that was lacking was the communication skill.
When you say communication, what exactly do you mean?
I mean, like if you call a child by the name, generally the child looks back. For my daughter, it was not there. She was oblivion to the fact that her name is Titli. She was like busy in her own world. And maybe a tap on the shoulder or a physical, like if you go and physically call her, then only she would turn back to respond. And there was no, I would say, lack of attention was there. Attention deficit, what I say, was there. And one more thing we noticed is that she is not interested in communication with others.
Okay. But did you suspect anything else, or You just had no clue.
No, as I said, we were never accustomed with the word autism before that. So our suspect was like, okay, maybe it's a kind of a delay in her growing up. As some pediatricians also said to us the same thing, right? Please wait for the next 6 months or maybe for 7, 8 months more. Have patience as a parent. She will speak. There are many kids who speak at 3.5, 4 years, 5 years also. So nothing to worry about because all the other milestones are achieved at the right months. So please wait and please wait. But to us, as a parent, we could see that she was slowly getting detached from her surrounding.
So what was the difference in reaction between you and your husband at the time?
First of all, I would say both jointly we were like very much shocked. You can understand being a parent and hearing something like this, like, okay, this is the reason my daughter is not able to make any communication with us. And we really don't have any idea. What is it? The pros, cons, nothing. We don't have any idea of it. How to deal with it was a major issue at that time. And the one thing that was very difficult during that phase for my daughter was that she always used to cry. Her only communication, way of communication was cry, nothing else. So even if she wants something, she will cry. Even if she doesn't want something, she will cry. So we really had a tough time that time, understanding that exactly what she wants. Her basic needs were not getting fulfilled. It obviously developed a lot of tensions. We as a parent were very much concerned that what exactly is going to happen. And as you know, Bala, like in this field, autism field, there are many interventions available. But actually, which one is going to help your child? It's a hell lot of task to understand, and it takes a quite lot of time to come to the fact that okay, this is the reason my daughter is not able to communicate, or this is the reason my daughter is having this kind of behavioral issues, and this is the way to handle it. And it comes only after you go through that process. There is no shortcut of it. It's kind of a trial and an error.
Did you have any good advisors, mentors, or guidance?
Yeah, sure. In this journey, I have met both who have said like, we will cure it within an year. Give us that time. I have met those people also. And I have been lucky enough to be associated with some people who had held my hand and said that it's okay. We will together make some difference. And I have been lucky enough that I had a good support around my like that time I was working as an ABA therapist. I got myself trained with that. I'm very happy that they gave me the opportunity after seeing that I have the interest to do that. So they gave me that opportunity. I got trained. I started working with the kids there. And I slowly came to know many things that I was not aware of. Or maybe my daughter was not having those symptoms at that time. She would have developed it later on. But I was made aware of those through that. And I'm glad that I got associated with those kind of people, be it the ABA therapist, be it the speech SLP, what we say, the speech therapist. They helped us all a lot tremendously.
So tell me, what is the kind of ignorance that exists out there in terms of mental health? Let's take autism to specific, okay? But what is the kind of ignorance that
First of
exists?
all, I would say, Bala, not only autism, this kind of neurological or mental health issues, they are not, either people are very much unaware of them or people don't want to acknowledge them. That's the main issue. Because I have come across with people, many parents, who just deny the fact that no, my child is all okay. Though they know that there is something which is lacking in that child. Maybe the child is verbal, going to a normal school, but there is attention deficit disorder, ADHD, what we call. So this, what happens with autism is that autism doesn't come alone. It comes with many other associated diseases. For some, it is learning disability. For some, it is ADHD. For some, it is apraxia of speech. There are many other things that come associated with autism. So people should first of all understand that when my child is having some problem, it's a concern, it's an issue. But we sometimes say that, oh, she or the child is not doing it just because wants to be a rebel, doesn't want to listen, all those facts. So as I started working in school, where my daughter was also going, I met people who were like, you tell me in how many days my child can speak. So it was like they think that we are God. we can tell them when exactly your child will speak. But the hardest fact is that nobody can tell whether the child will speak or not, whether the child can go to the mainstream school or not. And you have to accept that. If you can't accept, then every day is a challenge for you. You will cry almost every day of your life. Why this happened? How this happened? Why only my child got affected by this? So I would suggest the better way is that first of all acknowledge that yeah, this is the problem, and then try to find the solution. Go to the proper intervention centers. There are many good ones here in Bangalore. Those who are not in Bangalore also, there are now many good intervention centers in every state. So go there. First, if you want, get yourself trained as a parent. If you can't get trained, at least attend some seminars where they will give you a clear idea what is autism, what are the things associated with it, how to deal it, because it's a lifelong condition. It's not a disease, it's a condition. I wouldn't say that any child with autism is someone who has been having a very like some disease which can't be cured. No, it is the way they function. It is, to them it is normal. For us, it might not sound normal. It might not look normal, but to them their functioning is quite normal. So we have to understand that exactly, that okay, if this behavior, my daughter or my son is showing up this behavior, then what is the reason behind it? She or he must be trying to communicate something which is not in the conventional way of communication. That's why we are seeing it as a abnormal behavior or not the right kind of a behavior.
Gargi, you said that you had met a lot of people in the early stage who told you they can cure the child and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of when you have a child, you keep visiting your doctors, a child development expert or whatever. You meet them quite often. Do you think they can really serve a purpose? A bigger purpose than what they are doing now? Do you think there's something lacking in the way experts are communicating with parents? Based on the child's issue.
No, first of all, I would say what happens is that I wouldn't completely blame only those experts. We as a parent also say them, please tell me when this is going to end, or when my child will get completely cured. I am ready to spend any amount of money to that. These are the things that we say. I understand from what emotional standpoint any parent can say at that time. But this is the truth. We also sometimes become too impatient. We don't want to wait. We don't have the patience to see also where it is going sometimes. It happens. But on the part of those experts who are sitting there also, what is happening is that, Bala, when you meet a parent who is in lot of distress, is in a vulnerable state, it is the like norm of the society or human nature. People try to manipulate that person emotionally, whichever way they can. So it happens. We have also met those people. I'm not denying, be the doctors, good doctors from good established hospitals also we have met, who have said to us, per question I will take 5,000 to answer. I have met those people. So it was a shocking thing for us, really shocking, because being a parent, I have lots of questions. So how can a doctor can say that I will charge 5,000 per question?
Yeah. Okay.
For them it's a business, but for me it's a thing that I'm struggling to understand to the best effort, because it's associated with my child. So you should have that sympathy to understand that the person who is sitting opposite to you is in lot of distress. Sometimes it has happened to us also. I remember that one look and the doctor knows that okay, she is suffering from ASD, autism spectrum disorder, but they don't say it. They just don't say it. They will move here and there, and they will say, oh, this can be cured. Don't worry, come for the therapy sessions. 5 sessions you come, you will see a lot of difference. But actually the truth is that 5 sessions is nothing for this kind of problems. It takes almost years, 2, 3, 4 years also it can take, depending upon the situation or the position the child is at that time. So you have to understand that as a parent. But luckily, as in any profession, there are good people, there are bad people. So you have to have an open mind and very clear idea what exactly you want from the expert you are going to. Don't just fall over and say that my world has got ruined, I am seeing the end of it, there is no way we can come out of it. then obviously people will try to manipulate you. Be very particular about what are the situations you are going through right now, what are the things that you are seeing in your child lacking or showing some kind of symptoms which is not acceptable socially, you think, and then deal with that professionally.
What are the basic misconceptions around autism which you encountered?
The first and foremost misconception about autism is that people label them as mad or mental retardation. This is the truest fact and the hardest fact to accept as a parent, I would say, because it's not easy. If someone says that God has punished that child by giving autism, it doesn't sound good to hear, right? For any parent, it doesn't sound good to hear. Or if someone says that your child is mad or being labeled as mad, peculiar, it really doesn't sound good in any way. Whoever be the parent, whoever be the child, no parent can take this. So this is the most vulnerable misconception, I would say, in the society. It still exists. It is not easy to take that away. It is really not easy because what happens is that people think that, okay, my child is not autistic, my child is not having any kind of mental retardation, or my child is not suffering any kind of mental health issues, so why I should be bothered to learn about that disease also, because it is not going to affect me directly. But in a way, what happens is that when a so-called normal child, we say, and an autistic child tries to gel together, it is we parent who become hesitant. It happened with me also. I have sometimes thought that, okay, my daughter won't be able to go to the point where she can strike a communication with that normal child, though she is eager to do that. She might be smiling, she might be trying to touch that child, but still, as a parent, I was hesitant. It's true. But at the same time, we should understand that if we keep that child inside the house, like away from all the people's eyes, it is going to affect the child some way or the other. Why don't we take them, make them socially acceptable, show them the world? Because if you take them to the supermarkets, like, I'm not saying that take them every day to some amusement park or to some places to have some kind of a recreation. No, just take them out with you to the supermarkets, take them out when you buy vegetables. It's a way to learn them that have patience, wait, because this waiting or the patience to wait lacks in each and every autistic child. That is the first lesson we as a parent should teach that child, that have patience, wait for some time, everything will come. Suppose if you are going to a supermarket, you are picking up the stuffs, it's very easy, but when it comes to paying for those stuffs, you have to wait in a queue. That's a very important thing. That is the very basic thing actually we can do in our everyday life. Or take the child to the park where the others are playing. May not The child may not be interested in playing with the other kids, that is fine, but let him or her stand there, at least watch the other kids play. They will also enjoy. It's a kind of a recreation also for them. So slowly, this way, I think we can merge to some extent the difference that this not so-called normal kids and autistic kids have. It is not possible 100%. I know that very well. It is not possible 100%, but at least 50-60% can be done.
You said about that you are letting your child play with other so-called normal children. But
Hmm.
what about the parents of that so-called normal child? And how cooperative
Yes.
are they? Because they are also the issue.
Yeah, that's where we adults, the awareness is for us adults, I would say, because a child don't know what is normal, what is autism, what is ADHD, what is learning disability, nothing, right? For a child, another is also a child. They look it like that way. It is us adults who start actually discriminating between, okay, my child can do this, that child can't do this because of autism, all those stuff. So as I said, like, slowly maybe people are warming up to the fact that, okay, we can learn a little bit about that child's problem. But still now, 80% of the people who don't have a child or don't have anyone in their family who is having any kind of mental health issues don't take interest in them. It is the way our society has built up over the years, I would say. Their common line is that, in what way or why I should learn about that, what I will gain by doing that. That is the very common thing we often hear. And what happens is that slowly we, the parent of the special child also, it starts building up on us also. We slowly become hesitant that, okay, there is no point of making people also aware because they are not ready to take it. The common thing is that I'm not being affected by this, right? My child can also play with the any other normal kid. So what is the importance of going through all the process of knowing autism, then explaining it to my child, and then expecting that child will play with them, with your kid? It's a hell lot of time. Why I should waste that time? But if my suggestion will be waste that time a little bit, because nowadays we are seeing more cases of autism or any kind of mental health issues because of the lifestyle we lead or whatever be the reason. So maybe these kids, when they are going to the mainstream schools, sometimes they get bullied just because of the fact that they are a little bit different from the others. But why that should happen is my question, because when we are being sent to school, we are not being sent to bully someone who is not like me. Rather than we are being sent there so that we have an open mind to accept everyone. So that should come from home first. It can't be taught like that. Some basic values of life should come from home. That's what I believe.
Gargi, at Hoopsters, we are trying to start a whole program at schools called the Mental Health Watch Club. Okay, where we want to introduce children based on their, the age appropriate stuff on the basics of understanding mental health and the
Yeah.
issues that can create. So, what do you think? Do you think it's important to do it at that level?
Yes, of course, because in mental health issues, be it autism or any kind of problems, you will see always some kids who are high functioning, who are in the middle, and who are low in functioning department. So if we can make an awareness among the kids and among the teachers that, okay, this is the way, current situation of the child might be 10-year-old according to physical age, but actually that child is intellectually 5 or 6 year old. So we have to understand that if you expect that that kind of intellectuality from that 10-year-old child, that child won't ever be able to go to that point because his or her mental age is 5 or 6. So we should understand that, and if we can strike a bond or make a communication depending upon the stage the child is standing there right now, it will be a lot of easier for both ways to communicate.
Tell me, over the years, what did you do that made you better at dealing with your daughter's condition? What are the efforts you put in? I'm sure there needs to be an extra effort.
I don't know, Bala, whether it is best, better, or good. What I did as a parent is that, as I said, initially there was a lot of setback emotionally. It was a huge emotional setback for any parent, especially for a mother, to hear that this is the condition your child is going to have for a lifelong. But after the initial frustration got over, we understood one thing that see, for a father has to go out. In most of the cases, they have to go out, they have to earn. You can't deny that. So when someone is like slogging in the office for 10 hours, you really can't expect after that person comes back from office to be some extra helping hand. It might happen to some extent, but not to that extent. So the onus comes to the mother, I would say. Because in most of the intervention centers, you will see the mothers only taking their kids from here to there and discussing all the things. This is the truth. Like one is earning, another is taking care of the child. I don't deny that. This is very much needed because all the therapies are very costly. You have to pay for them. Nobody is doing it for free. So everything should go hand in hand. But yeah, what I did was that while I was getting trained in ABA or while I was working, I got a wonderful opportunity to attend some seminars at Action for Autism, New Delhi. So I went there, and Dr. Mary Borua, you know, right? She is one of the leaders in this autism field. So she arranges that seminar for 3 days for parent, for therapist, for everyone. And it was a wonderful learning experience, I would say, because the way they showed it, they had like slowly had done the breakup of the issues and how to handle it. That was very good. It enlightened like us like anything. So it happens every year, and they have a page, Action for Autism, in Facebook. Anybody who follows their page will definitely get an idea what they do and when those seminars happen. All year round, different seminars happen with them. And if possible, I know it is not always possible from everyone to be there and join, but if possible, I would suggest to some of them to join those seminars and be there. It's a learning experience, because there you will see, first of all, you will first see the kids of different age group there. Some adults also you will meet who are autistic, like in their 20s or 30s, working there in their canteens or in different kind of jobs, be it in the library or everyone. That is very important, because for me, my daughter is only 8-year-old. I don't know when my daughter will be at 20, how she will be. Or many like me, whose kids are of like below 10, or maybe much younger in age than us also, like maybe 5 or 6, they don't have any idea that where we are going. Exactly after 20 years, where we'll be seeing our child standing. So it's an eye opener for all of us, I would say, that if you follow certain rules, if you give importance not only to academics, to some other skills that this child can develop, there is obviously an option of some kind of an employment. That is very important.
I'm, I'm sure this fear of what will happen to my child, say, like you said, 20 years down the line, is a very prominent fear amongst all the parents. So how do you tackle that fear? Or are you preparing your child for something? Are you preparing yourself for something?
I remembered one thing, Bala. The first doctor who diagnosed my daughter with autism, she said to me one very important thing. She said to me that you are crying today because you can't see the future of that child. But if you think from the reality standpoint, we assume that our child will become an engineer, a doctor, or an architect, or a music teacher, or something. But do you really know that your child will be that later on? No, right? Your child can develop some other kind of interest, might move to some other field which you didn't wanted your child to shine to. But that's the truth, right? We all, be it normal or be it any child who has got affected with mental health issues, we don't know after 10 years where we are going to stand. We can do our best right now. We can give our best right now. Rest, the time will take its course. So what I have, or still I believe, is that let me try. When I'm still there, I'm alive, I'm young, I have the energy to do it, let me try. After that, nothing is in my hand. I can try to some extent, obviously, but that is not going to happen the way I have envisioned. It might not happen. It might not happen. And nowadays, like many places have come out with wonderful assisted living facilities in India, because people have started understanding the fact that we can't always keep those children at our home all the time. We have to make them prepare also for the outside world, and we have to allow them to mingle with the other autistic kids also. And to some extent, we should develop some kind of a soft skill which will help them in the long run to get to be independent to some extent. And the good thing about this assisted living facilities is that they train those kids, and when that kid is at a certain age where he or she can be meaningfully engaged in some kind of a work, they do that. So it's a very good idea. At home, it is not always possible to do everything. How much you try, really how much you try, to the best of your interest, it is not always possible to find employment for this kind of kids. Very few places are open to take this kind of, now they are kids, right? But 10 years, 20 years later, they will be adults. So then what? You can't make that child always sit at home, eat their food, watch TV, watch mobile, or do with iPad. They also should have a life of their own. They should be also meaningfully engaged. So in that place, I would say this kind of assisted living facilities are doing a wonderful job.
See, this history has, if you look at the people in the course of history, a lot of brilliant ones were actually also supposed to have been suffering from one of the spectrum issues. Okay. And I mean, they're supposed to be the most brilliant minds in humanity. And so tell me, I'm sure Titli has got her own interests, her own, something which she's more excited about in terms of hobbies or art or wherever it goes. How are you interacting with her or dealing her to pursue what she likes?
First of all, Bala, the thing is that these kids, my daughter is in the lower functioning group because she has apraxia of speech associated with autism. So, in a way, she can't communicate verbally with us. She has very few, maybe 5 to 6 words that she can say. Others, she has to depend on her iPad. She uses one app called Avaz and it speaks for her. Whenever she types there something or she has her own setup there, it speaks for her. So she uses that. So right now she is at a stage where it is very difficult to understand what exactly she likes or what is her interest. So what we did is that we have exposed her to some kind of physical activities which helps them. And one problem is with these kids is that they need a lot of physical exercise, proprioceptive, I would say like cognitive skills, proprioceptive skills, they lack all of this. So they need a lot of physical exercise for those things. For example, these kids love speed. So if you put them in the skating, they really enjoy that, which we have done with our daughter. We never thought that she will be able to do it. Initially, 1 or 2 classes was very difficult. She was given like supportive wheels also to do that. But within 3-4 months, she picked up. And now she can skate so nicely that even I also can't do that. I will fall down. Frankly speaking, if I put on the skating shoes, I will fall down like anything. But she can do all of those stuff. So that is a kind of an interest for her because she loves that speed, that the sensation of that speed, it kinds of she has shined in that not because we were forcing her, because she liked that. Or maybe swimming. These kids love water tremendously. So even my daughter was also into swimming. Before this lockdown also we were doing that. Unfortunately now we can't do it. What we found out is that initially she was crying. She was putting a little bit of resistance, but later on she developed the swimming skills so nicely that she started enjoying it. And it was like, okay, splashing in the pool, going there, but it is also helping all her muscle growth in a way. So these are some of the things I will say that kids, like I have a kid who is below 10 years of age. So if you look from that standpoint, parents can definitely opt for these things. I know initially kids throw a lot of tantrum. We also have gone through that, but have patience. With time, they will like, if they like it, they will do it very properly and they will definitely shine on that later on.
What about her mingling with her friends in your apartment blocks and stuff like that? How comfortable is she?
Yeah, that also we have seen. What happened is that when, as I said, like if we take our child from the early stages or only from out to outside, whenever we go out or whenever we go to someone else's house or everywhere, be it restaurant, be it a shopping complex or wherever we go, be it malls, I always had done that with my daughter. From the time she was in her pram, I used to take her everywhere. So what I found out is that I didn't have to make any extra effort on that part. She is very well accustomed of her surroundings. She, if somebody approaches us, it's not that she will be very much hesitant. She smiles back at them sometimes. So, and she now knows how to get the attention of those person who is approaching her. So I really never had to put any like too much effort into that, because from the time she got detected, we made it a point that we will always take her outside with us wherever we are going, so that she also will be able to understand the social surroundings around her. We don't have to make an effort to teach her that. So it's very important to do that, I would say.
But what about the friends? I mean, does she go to the evenings and play with the other kids her age?
Yeah, that's a problem, Bala, because these autistic kids generally don't want to play. They have a problem to mingle with people socially. But if you intervene and if you approach, then probably they will do it. But they never do it on their own, most of the cases. They lack that. They prefer to be on their own world. They are aware that, okay, somebody is there near me, somebody is trying to strike a conversation or smiling at me, but they never try to do it from their end. It is not in, like, I would say in 80% of the cases of autism, you will find that that person or that kid who has got affected with autism never is the first person to approach and make a verbal conversation with any person. If you ask something, they will just answer to the point. That is in their nature. You have to accept that. That is the
So
truth.
it is okay to be on their own.
Yes, that is fine. That is absolutely fine. Even we also, some people, we are extrovert and introverts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not all are, like, if you go to a party, you will often find some people just sitting in the corner and speaking to limited people whom they know or what is being asked. And at the same party, you will find someone who is the like the spirit of the party, who is like hi hello doing to each and every person. So accept that okay, my child is not able to strike a communication, that is fine. But if something is being asked or somebody is saying hi and hello, he or she is responding, that is very much fine.
What about school? I mean, how do you manage your school?
For her, I started doing homeschooling because, as I said, she has apraxia of speech. For that, she needs the iPad. And what is the norm in the school is that they don't allow gadgets. But that is not being looked up, and the iPad is not being looked up as a gadget to my daughter. It is a necessary instrument, I would say, for communication. So there was a problem for that. And as I said, like I went to Action for Autism, then I started working with these kids. I learned ABA. I learned to some extent from the speech therapist also. They showed me what are the ways to make the communication happen. And we all came to the conclusion is that for best of our interest, it is good to have a homeschooling pattern. And that's what we are doing now. For the last almost now 2 years, it is been happening like that
What about other? I'm sure you come across a lot of apathy,
way.
from the society. What are the incidents where you felt the society could have been much more evolved? We want to hear stories about incidents which people can understand and reflect.
The thing is that, as I said, like these kids are being labeled as mad or something very abnormal about them. People don't want to see also beyond that, okay, if that child is crying or it extra cranky or becoming impatient, why that is happening. For example, I lost my father in 2016, and I was going to my hometown to do the last rites of my father. You can understand what is my mental state at that time. So I was traveling with my daughter alone, and I where after security and everything, I was waiting. Now she was crying. At that time she was not ready to wait. That patience was not there. Till the bus comes, till we go to the flight, until it takes off, she doesn't have that patience. So she was crying so much that I was trying to pacify her. But at the same time, I just lost my father that morning. It was a huge emotional turmoil also for me. So what happened is that some passengers, co-passengers of mine, who were sitting just opposite of me in the waiting area, they had complained to the ground manager saying, this kid is having some kind of a serious health issue and they shouldn't be in the flight. So I remember I was traveling with Indigo. So they came to me, the ground manager, and asked me, ma'am, is there anything wrong with your child? Is she having high fever? Some problem is there. Then I said to them, first of all, see, I lost my father today. I'm going there to do the last rite of my father. Since I'm the only child of them, I am going there. So, and the second is that my child is autistic. She doesn't have any kind of disease. Don't worry. It is not something contagious kind of disease. That is the main concern of you guys, right? For me to be in that flight, don't worry about that. If you want to understand it in a more better way, every airport has some doctors. Go and ask them. I don't have any problem. But for the time being, can you please show me a place where I can sit and wait for my flight, please? Because the scenario that is happening surrounding me, I don't have the ability at that time to face that, because I already have so much of things happening from my personal front. So these are the things that happens in every spheres of life. For example, I was telling you, right, I live where I live in the community. Now, because of the pandemic, nobody's trainers come here to train their kids. Now, my daughter has a physical trainer and a skating trainer who comes to give 1:1 training, and that is being done in the common premise only. Now, people have objected to the association, saying that what special is that child, that the child is getting this kind of facility when our kids are not getting that kind of facility. I understand, because autism is called an invisible disease. By seeing any child, most of the child, you won't understand also that that child is being affected by autism. So I had to approach the association, the health association of this place where I live, and I have to explain to them that, see, my daughter is having autism. It is very much essential for her to do these exercises and skating. It is not kind of an amusement for her. It is a necessity for her. Please allow us. So then they understood the situation. I also personally spoke with them, and then they thought that, okay, this is good, this should be done. And then they allowed my daughter's trainer to come and start training. So these are very small problems that we face in our everyday life. And I really don't think, Bala, this will go off so easily, because you call it lack of awareness, or maybe the people around us are not understanding the fact that that child is having some kind of an issue. Because we believe that what is not being seen physically is not a disease. We still feel that. So autism is surprisingly something, around the world you will see many kids affected by autism, but if you look at them, they look very good. They don't look like that they have autism. So it's a kind of an invisible disease, and that creates a lot of problem to make others understand that, yes, actually my child is having this kind of issues, and you should be a little bit more, like, I would say, open up your mind to understand that my child needs this kind of special care or this kind of special therapy.
What have been very rewarding moments in your life? I think that's what keeps you going. So,
Yeah, first a few years was not at all rewarding, I would say. It was a struggle. I remember I was sitting in my daughter's one of the therapy classes, and at the end of it, I cried. I broke down. I said, the child whom I'm seeing in front doesn't look like a child to me now. Even an animal would have behaved more better way, I guess. I really said these lines to the therapist. I don't know how to do how to deal with this child. Being a mother also, I can't understand my own child. I remember that. But once you see that why that child is trying to behave in that way, it becomes a lot easy that time to see past that behavior and do what exactly is needed at that right moment. The most rewarding, if you ask, is that was shall we continue?
yeah, and somebody's okay.
Yeah. um, the most rewarding thing was, like, probably when my daughter first called me mama. That was very nice, because before that she never said anything, so she was able to say that. And then every day is like, when she started doing all these physical exercises that I said, that was also very rewarding, because I still remember when she first was able to swim properly. We were so happy to see her swimming, because we struggled a lot to come to that position where she will be enjoying swimming and she can do it. She got some wonderful trainers to do that, and our patients and that trainer's patients actually became fruitful, because she started do swimming on her own, or like the way I said, she does skating. So she started with some extra wheels to give her support. Now, the day she had to graduate to take out those extra wheels and be on the airline skating shoe was a very tough day for me, because I remember I was hiding behind her trainer and I was saying that I pray that she don't fall down, because she won't realize that the uh, other extra wheels have been taken off, and she will be skating, and at a high speed, if she falls, then what is going to happen? I still remember that. And the trainer said that, don't worry, your daughter won't fall. She won't fall for a single moment also. She will be able to do that. And to my surprise, I was like seeing my daughter doing the skating without any supportive wheels also. So those moments, obviously, as a parent, we definitely enjoy those moments. It's a very good feeling, and it's a joy to see that child who was struggling to ask for anything, crying and crying, is now able to at least engaged on her own. She loves playing with her gadgets. She loves watching YouTube. She knows which song to find out. It's a joy to see her coming from that stage to this stage.
What are the scariest and I would call it scariest moments?
Scariest moment, touch wood, nothing has happened like that till now. But yeah, I remember once it had happened is like she was ill for a long period of time. She was having fever, very high fever. Almost 7-8 days had passed by. There was no improvement on her. And I think many kids of like the who have kids of my age will understand it's a very difficult situation to take these kids to doctors. And if that doctor prescribes any kind of pathological test that involves drawing blood test, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. We all might have cried as a child to do those blood tests. We all have done. I am sure you also have done it. I myself also have thrown a lot of tantrum. But when it comes to this kind of kids, it's very scary that time, because the kid doesn't understand also why that blood is being drawn. First of all, the child has to be stable to draw that blood, and all that surrounding environment is like very scary to them and very scary to us also that time. And it takes a lot of effort. I would say some very good professionals like doctors and nurses are here in Bangalore who understands the need of the hour, and they do it in such a way that the child don't understand also the blood is being drawn. So these are the things. And one more incident happened is that my daughter actually cracked her skull here, wide open. It happened like we went out, we came back. She was very happy. She was jumping on the bed. She suddenly fell down and she had hit the window pane, I guess. And it was a wide open crack here in the scalp, and blood was just gushing down. It took us almost half an hour to stop that blood at that moment. It was like a flow of blood all over her face and body. And the situation is that this kids doesn't have the realization of pain much. On a scale of 10, for example, my daughter has a pain ratio of 2 to 3. So you can understand. It's very poor. It's very poor. It was very poor at that time, that period of time when I'm talking about, like maybe 4 years back. So she, after a point when the blood stopped, she tried to be on her own. She was laughing. She was like, okay, nothing has happened. But we could actually see her skull there. I remember it was almost like past 12 when we ran to the Apollo emergency room. And my daughter, we were like crying as a parent. We were like, we don't know how to deal with that child because it will need few stitches. Now, putting those stitches is a hell lot of task. We don't know how she will react. So we were driving her to the Apollo emergency, and she was very happy that she got a ride in the middle of the night. So you can understand the situation. We are crying and she's very happy. She's smiling that, okay, I got a ride. Nobody is asking me to sleep. Have fun. We went there. We were like, we couldn't stand her seeing in that situation. And the doctor said like 5 people were called. We were actually holding her in 5 positions because the stitch is very painful, though they had done local anesthesia. So after that, it was done. For her, it was like a normal life. She didn't realize also what she has gone through. But for us as a parent, it was a task because we had to take her to clean that wound. We always have to be careful for the next 1 month that she shouldn't get hurt into that position again. So these are some of the situations I know many people will can relate to. Many parent has gone through this because this kids doesn't have the idea of danger, idea of height initially. After only getting intervention, occupational therapy, physical exercise, they understand. But initially, that is not present, and that has led to many like accidents, I would say. Obviously, people who have autistic kids, they all have gone through that phase. It is like in a moment it happens, and then the consequence is too much to handle.
So, what are the extra precautions that a parent should take?
There is nothing, Bala, called extra precautions in this situation. It's a mishap, I would say. But yeah, we became cautious because we knew that she doesn't have the idea of height. She doesn't have the sense of fear. All those things we understood. And we took her to an occupational therapy center first. And then we appointed one person who was with the Manipal hospitals. And that person used to come to our house and started training my daughter. And that training was not only for the height and everything, that was to make her aware of her surroundings more and more. That is the only way we could avoid this kind of mishaps. There is no other way we can do that.
Tell me, Gargi, there's so much of stress that's happening at home, especially between the say husband and the wife and stuff like. How much of these things, actually affects the relationship of the husband and wife, and how does one deal with it or not deal with it?
I won't deny that it doesn't create any kind of stress. It definitely creates a lot of stress because what happens is that probably at certain point it happens. Like when you go to some gathering, you see other friends' kids, and you start feeling like, okay, my kid can't do that. What that kid is doing. It happens. Many times it happens. It is not something to say that no, I have never gone through that, I never feel that. And sometimes this also starts bringing a lot of tensions in our relationships. It will, because when two person are living together, they don't have the same kind of patience. It's very obvious. Probably sometimes it is being found that the father is have more patience than the mother, or sometimes the mother has more patience than the father. Obviously the person who has less patience will just burst out in those stressful situations where the child is crying and crying and crying, and we don't know the solution of it, or the child is ill and showing lot of behaviors, sensory issues, and we don't know how to handle it. So you can understand in that place, that situation, anybody can burst out. Suppose if you are not sleeping for 4 or 5 days at night, on the fifth day you will burst out. Anybody can burst out because it takes a lot of effort to do your everyday work, and then also be understanding that okay, what is happening. It still happens. My daughter's like every month for some 7 8 days she gets very disturbed sleep. So we have to be uh, at a situation right now where we will have to understand, okay, this is going to happen, but this will go off also slowly. She won't sleep properly. We will have to accept that. Let her sleep whenever she wants to sleep. At least she can have some rest. And we will also try to take some rest in between whenever she is sleeping. In spite of the fact that we have our jobs, we have to go out, we have to do certain works, all are there. But nothing can be done beyond that. You can scream, you can cry, you can say abusive things to the child, and you can physically also abuse the child. But the truth of that situation is that have patience. There is nothing that can take you out of that situation other than patience. Because what is happening sometimes is that if you take that child in that situation when the child is very much disturbed and is having a lot of sensory issues to doctors, um, they prescribe some nerve soothing medicines. I have seen with my own friend son who had been given those, and it doesn't do any good to any child. If you show as a parent that I'm so much stressed out, situation is going out of hand, my child is not sleeping, just jumping, overactive, hyperactive, whatever way you say, obviously any doctor will give you some nerve soothing medicines. And you can imagine a child taking, a 5 6 year old child taking nerve soothing medicines, what effect it will have. I remember one of the parent I know who has an autistic child, a daughter. She once came to my house, so I was asking her what is the daily routine of that child. And when she was speaking, she was giving me the child wakes up at 11 o'clock, then sleeps in the afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30, again sleeps at night at 9:30. So I asked her, don't take it otherwise. This all the autistic children has sleep issues, all most of them. How come your child is sleeping like that? Your child is only 4 years old. Can you tell me? Because when I had been through that period, we had many sleepless nights. Bala, to my surprise, the mother said she is on sleep induced medicines. Can you imagine a 4-year-old child being given medicine to sleep? What effect it will have? Maybe that family is buying some peaceful moments right now. But think of it in the long run. I was so surprised to hear that, to the fact that I asked her, actually, which doctor prescribed this? Which doctor is so inhuman to do that to a 4-year-old child? Because this is not possible. And why you are giving that? Then her reply was that, oh, it keeps everything at home in the perfect situation. The thing that you said, lot of tensions. Lot of tensions are coming. This is the solution that we have found out. I said, this is a temporary solution you have found out. Give another 5 years, your child will be standing where I really don't know. I don't want to scare you, but this is the truth. Any adult who is on sleeping pills also shows some kind of physical issues. You think your 4-year child will be a very good, happy and healthy child after doing this for 5 long years or 4 long years? Then she said, I never imagined in that way. It's buying us some peaceful moments. My husband is busy. My another son is going to school. My in-laws are very happy. I am also getting some time to have my some me time. So we looked at from that standpoint. I said, you are looking from that standpoint. It is not wrong also to think. I understand. Everybody needs their own space. But at the same time, think that why don't you engage that child in some physical way activities, or take that child out when you have 4 or 5 people in the house between whom the responsibility can be shared? Why don't you do that, rather than putting the child on sleep, or sending that child to the long hours of therapy classes, which is not making any good thing to that child? So why not you engage that child with different persons? I understand many times it is not possible to always sit on the chair and table to do work, and that child also can't take it. 6-7 hours you can't work with a child. Maybe after 2 hours you have to give that child some free time, but that doesn't mean that you will be giving that child, okay, let her sleep or let him sleep and let me follow my own life. That is not going to work, right, in the long run.
Gargi, how do you manage work and taking care of Titli?
Yeah, it comes with slow understanding of the situation, as I said, and time management. You have to manage your times like that way, so that probably when my child is sleeping, you do this work, important works which need your attention at that moment, so that when she gets up, you can give her some time. Then you keep some 3 hours in the evening, then you can probably take your child out for a walk. It's very necessary to take these children for long walks, because they need that physical exercise is very good for their sleep, for their overall growth. So take them to the parks. Very, and right now all the parks are closed, unfortunately, but before that everything was open, and hopefully everything will be open again soon. So take them to the parks. They will also see some other kids playing in front of them, right? And let them, as I said, that waiting, as I mentioned earlier, right, it's a very important facet to make them learn to wait. Suppose there are 2 swings in the park, you have to wait to have your turn, or maybe someone else is sitting, share the swing with the other one. Those are the things that you can manage. I think slowly, once you understand how your day will be, you will be able to manage the time also like that way. And as I said, if there are not only husband and wife, more people in the house, try to engage them. It always doesn't have to be the intervention way only to engage. You can engage those children in different ways also. Let them also have some fun with the, maybe with the grandparent, or maybe another sibling elder. When he or she is going somewhere, take that child also with the sibling. So that way it is easy to manage. It always doesn't have to be only academics, only sit in a place, only always have to be studies. You can manage the whole day in any of the way. Whatever way you choose, just follow one thing, that the child should be happy at the end of the day.
Gargi, one of the things I hear when I talk to parents, especially either in situations, they are overcome with guilt. That's the biggest thing which affects most parents. Whether it's when you're single or you're with a special child or with, whatever, the guilt seems to be a big issue. What are your opinion or thoughts on that?
Mala, that is very common. It is very natural to have that guilt. As I said, when as a parent we hear for the first time that my child is having autism, the first thing that strikes to a parent is that, oh, there must be something wrong in me. That's why this child has been born like this. But the truth is that we don't know. For example, I know many parents who have two children. The first one is perfectly normal. The second one is autistic. What explanation you will give in that situation? Same parent have reproduced that child also. Same parent has reproduced this child also. So one is autistic, one is not. For example, one of my friend has a twin. One twin is the normal, the other same twin is autistic. There is no explanation of these things. Really, there is no. So no point in saying that, oh, maybe my fault. I'm not able to, I haven't been able to do this, or right now I am not able to do that. That's why my child is becoming like this. You should understand one thing: as the child's age progresses, the behavioral issues or the sensory issues also change from time to time. So it is not because the parent is not taking active part, or the parent is not taking good care of that child, that's why this is happening. No, it is the part of that condition. So better to understand that and to work it out accordingly than to be under that impression, okay, maybe I have done something, that's why this has happened. No, whenever you can give time from your busy schedule, give the time to the child, no problem. It doesn't have to be like always 24 into 7 you have to be sticking around with the child. Nobody wants that. In that way your child will also not learn. If you always give the child, like whenever she's thirsty, if you give the child a glass of water, a child will never know how in your absence to take a glass of water and drink his or her own. Your ultimate goal in life is that, right? That where in an environment when you are not present physically, your child should have the basic capability of surviving. So don't have to always stick around the child. When you get time, spend that time. When not, try to engage that child meaningfully, maybe with some other person in the family. If there is not that person, maybe you can put that child to some kind of a therapy that time. Or if that is also not possible, then there are many online apps. Nowadays, everybody have iPads in their home. There are many brain stimulating games that are being specially built for these autistic kids. Make them learn how to do that. There are some apps which by your finger only you can paint a picture in the iPad. Make them learn all of those things. It will surely help them in engaging in a proper way.
How will you keep your enthusiasm going, Gargi? I mean, since I've known you, you've been like this. So, what drives you?
Bala, the thing is that this me that you are seeing was very different from the old me that I was actually. The thing is, I have also gone through very bad phases. I have cried as a parent. Maybe 2-3 months I wasted crying initially. I cried. But at the end, what I understood, Bala, is that this crying is not taking me anywhere. Neither it is doing any good to me, nor to my child. It is not helping us as a parent also. Husband and wife relation, be it my relationship with the others, are getting strained because I'm always preoccupied with that thought: what I did, what went wrong, why God this did this to my child, all of these things. So any person who is preoccupied with those thoughts can't function properly. So you have to move on. You have to show some interest. After all, that's your own child. And I'm sure every parent who has an autistic child has heard this from their therapist, that you are with that child 24 into 7. We are not. That child is being sent to us for a maximum of 2 hours, 4 hours, or maybe 5 hours max. After that, you are always with your child. So it is you who should learn how to handle everyday situations. There is no book, there is no dictionary, there is no directory which will give you that, okay, if this is the situation, you should handle it this way. It's a trial and an error, like any raising up any normal kid. uh, when we were growing up, Our parents have also gone through the same issues, right? Every day is not same with us. Every day can't be same. We have come back from school many times with many scratches, wounds. There had been guardian calls. There had been so many issues. Our parents have handled according to the situation. So there is no book called parenting. Just follow your instinct and don't always try to put things like, oh, she's a special child, that's why I am into this situation. Believe me, when I see my other friends who have normal kids, they have a lot of more issues. Like, my daughter is not writing it like this way. She is not eating it. I sometimes just sit back and think that, my goodness, these are very small, trivial things when I sit and compare with the challenges that we are facing as a special parent. This is the nothing. If my daughter don't eat also like half of the bread for a day in the tiffin break, it doesn't make anything bad. It's okay. It's all part of growing up. So when you look at the challenges that we face as a parent of special kids, then what is that? I remember one of my friend who has a autistic son. She said to me one day that, Gargi, one day you will realize it's like climbing Mount Everest every day and coming back to the base camp and again in the morning climbing up the Mount Everest. So this is our life. Remember that. So far as you have the enthusiasm to climb that mountain, nobody can stop you. But the day you hang up your boots and you say that, no, I can't do it, it often happens with me also. In some situations I say, I can't do it, I'm just giving up my hand, this is too much, I am just wasting time. But yeah, that is like uh, it's a normal human behavior. Anybody who is frustrated at that situation will say it. But at the end of the day, you will realize that it is you as a parent who can change that life of the children. And you can talk about awareness at a length, Bala, but the truth is that the awareness first should happen at home with the parent. They should understand that this is the situation I will have to handle. Then only the others will try to see what you are actually trying to show them that, see, this is the world of my child. If you yourself always say that, oh, I feel myself at a very vulnerable situation, I feel so sorry about the fact that out of so many cousins or so many brothers and sisters of mine, I am only having an autistic child. No, I've come across many people who say after hearing to me, oh, we are so sorry that your child is autistic. I said, there is nothing to be sorry about it, first of all. I myself don't see myself in a sorry state. So you don't also have to be sorry. She is a child. I just look upon like that way. But yeah, I understand that for her, she will always need that special support throughout her life. That is the truth. You accept it, life becomes a little bit easy.
That's lovely. No, I don't think. I think this is a perfect way to end this interview, Gargi. I think you just said everything which my next 5 questions had. Okay, and so it's very positive. I think I definitely would like to end it here.
Yeah.
And like I would say, let's do something more important in terms of, getting the parents to understand what, mental health is or what are mental health issues. You know, so anybody out there who watching this or can actually also tell us if you got any suggestions, any ideas of how to take the awareness things to people's homes. But I think it all begins at home anyway. So I think we should. And you have become a ambassador of spreading awareness on various issues. So do tell us what we can do so we actually reach the message out to where it's supposed to go.
First of all, I would say involve all your present family members. Okay, that is the easiest and the convenient way to do that. And remember one thing, when you say no to a child, that no is a no. It shouldn't be. Many of these children love to have chocolates. So probably after you can have 2 3 chocolates in a day, a small bit, that is fine, but you can't go on eating that, right? So, and these autistic kids, they all love eating, they like it. So after a point, if you say no to your child, please stick to that no. All family members should stick to that no, because it creates a lot of problem, not only about food, about any other thing also. Suppose my child is just making tantrums to get something. Every child makes tantrums. Even an autistic kid also makes tantrums. So you might be saying as a parent or as a mother or as a father that no, you shouldn't get that. And if you want it, there is a right time to get that, or you have to do this to earn this actually. Other members should follow that. What happens is that sometimes I have heard that many people live with their in-laws or with their parent, the grandparents to the kids. They give it. Oh, well, that's a small kid crying. Let's give that to that child. But don't do that. It's not the kind of right way to show love. Show your love in somewhere else. Nobody is stopping that. But when it comes to bringing up this kind of children, you have to be a little bit strict. It might look that I'm very strict with my daughter with that, from the other's point of view, but at the same time you should understand that my daughter doesn't know the difference between the situations she is asking. If she is throwing a tantrum and if I'm giving it her today, she will be doing it on the public space also, because that time these kids are aware that okay, if I embarrass my parents so much, they will give it immediately just to make me stop crying or just to make me stop throwing those tantrums. But that shouldn't happen. A no means a no. Or make an effort like, okay, you do this, I will give you that. That is the very first basic thing everybody should follow, whoever at my daughter's age or whoever a junior to that. First and foremost thing is that. And the next, as I said, take them out as much as possible wherever you go. There is no other way to make them socially acceptable than this. You will slowly see we often look like we all have our some particular stores which we visit, right? So they will also in a way will understand that okay, this child comes, this child has these issues, uh, she loves to see certain things in that supermarket. She won't touch the things, she will just watch them from a distance and she will go with her parent or any of the parent. That is fine. In a way, if you these are very small things of life, if you show them this from the early stage, this child will be like, I would say this child will understand it without knowing also that okay, these are the rules that I should follow. Because for all of us, if you say that don't eat that apple, we will be rushing to eat that apple only first. That is being said. So there is no point saying that don't eat that apple. Keep that apple, but tell them there is a time to eat that apple. You will have it when the right time comes. This is very important, not only for our kids, for any kid to grow up. And yeah.
Yes, sorry, you continue.
Yeah, and another thing is that, as I said, because of the lockdown now, it has happened with my daughter also that lack of any kind of physical activity has made them very hyperactive, very anxious. In many stages, they can't like show their emotions also to us, be it verbal, non-verbal, high functioning, low functioning. These autistic kids have a lot of problem in showing the actual emotions to their parent also to some extent. So in that case, I would suggest that take them out to your nearest surroundings. As basic as take them out for the walks in the evening. Maybe an hour of walking, just walking on the road gives a wonderful effect sometimes. It will be good for you. It will be good for your child also. The child will be seeing the surroundings around what is happening, and it's a good physical exercise. At the end of the day, you both will feel good. So why not do all of those stuffs? And since we are now all working from home, we can actually take turns to look after the child if we want to, because we have the liberty. Yeah, I know work from home is now like we are working more hours than we usually do at the office, but at the same time we have the benefit of at home also. When my daughter or my son needs my attention, I can just stop it there and maybe 5-6 minutes I need to be with my daughter or with my son. We can afford that, right? So why not do it?
Gargi, do you have communities which are built around parents who have got special children? And if so, how effective are these, or what is missing in this?
First of all, Bala, the thing is that this so-called communities around, like if you call those like communities who have only like autistic kids, many groups are there. What you will see is that, sorry to say, after a point, that group gets divided. One is high functioning, one is low functioning. That shouldn't happen actually. It is not the way to show that my son or my daughter is 1 point higher than your son or your daughter. No. Okay. The main thing is that we should work hand in hand and we should be supportive of each other. That is it. when we are at the lowest of our low, that person should say that, yeah, I have also gone through the same. I know what you are going through. I really, literally know what you are going through. That matters a lot sometimes. You don't have to do anything. If you just say this, that also matters. Because when I have gone through many therapy centers, we I have also met many mothers who have said, my son is not doing this. My daughter is not doing this. Nobody understands that what I'm going through when I see my child going through this phase. So to them, if I say that, I exactly know what you are going through, because I also have been in your shoe at one point of time. I exactly know. And now also every day, sometimes I am there where you are talking, from what standpoint you are talking about. It matters a lot. But yeah, nowadays many communities are coming up who can give this kind of support. But I would say that, Bala, if you can make an community, as you come across many, from many spheres, people, right? So if you can make something where we all parent of special kids parent, be it not only autism, if the mental health issue, if you look at it, it's a broad spectrum. So if all can come to a point where they can share all their problems, all their achievements, it would be very good, because in a way we need that kind of support. Sometimes our friends, so-called friends, also unknowingly hurt us by saying us something, because we parent are at a very sensitive stage. If somebody says something about my child unintentionally, also we feel bad. It is obvious, as a human we feel bad. But for example, when I took my daughter for the first time to get her diagnosed what exactly her problem, I saw a different world, a world which I was oblivion about. I never had an idea that this world exists in our society only. Really, I really never had an idea. And then there, I remember I cried, but at the first time I also realized that there are so many like me, so many like me. They are like, some are government employees, some are doctors, some are professors, some are scientists. But at one point, if you keep aside all of this, we have a common sensitive thing to talk about. That is our child who is suffering from some kind of a mental health issue. So at that standpoint, we all are same. Whatever be our professions, whatever background we come, we all are same at that point. We are only just parents who are very much concerned what will happen now, what will happen in the future. We will die. We are not immortals. We will die one day. Then what will happen? All our concerns are same. It is not that okay, my son is high functioning means that after me that son will be having a very smooth life. No, there will be some problems. And it is not easy to find life partners also for this kind of adults. These kids will go into adults, right, grow up into adults, but it is not easy to find a very good life partner. And it is not possible also. Who would like to spend their normal life to be from an autistic person's perspective? Nobody wants to do that. Really, nobody wants to do that. So if we can make a close community where we as a parent can connect, and where we know that, okay, that person is there for me, my 3 a.m., my 4 a.m. friend, who under any circumstance will understand. Whatever be the situation, that person won't ever say that, oh, you haven't done this therapy at that right time, that's why this is the consequence you are facing. No, the reality is that whatever you do, whatever you try to the best of your effort, still you will face some problem as a kid of a special kids parent. Accept it. There is no harm in crying, no harm in breaking down, no harm in saying that I can't take it any longer. There is no harm. It is true at every level. Wherever your daughter or your son is standing intellectually, it is true for each and every parent.
Yeah, I'm pausing because I think that was it was very impactful, basically what you said. And the whole idea of, yes, starting a community, Hoopsters is trying to do something. And we should be announcing, doing a lot of things for starting January 1st. And we are having this whole story called the Mental Health Watch Club, which is actually one of the biggest community of parents or your normal people, to come together and spread awareness, get an understanding of what it's all about. Yeah, we are on. We'll be doing this, and for all those watching, I mean, this bye-bye from Hoopsters. Thank you, Gargi. I'm sure you got a lot of things to do back at home.
Yeah, sure.
I know that, but
And,
thank you very much.
Yeah, but one thing is that, Bala, if you plan to do something, as I said, as a community for us, it will be very helpful. And I think that most of the parents who haven't joined this or who hasn't joined this session or will join in future, we all will be very much happy if something like that can be done. Because in the long run, individual awareness is not possible. We all have to work hand in hand.
Yes.
So it will go a long way that way, because you're putting up a single effort, my putting up a single effort, or anybody's putting up a single effort is not going to work.
Absolutely.
It won't make any difference in the long run. So if you want to make a wave, then you definitely need the community to be working closely hand in hand. Then only these issues can be solved to some extent, and maybe in our surrounding also we will be seeing more places which are very friendly for this kind of kids and adults, and people who will be not looking at our kids like something, these kids are something very weird kind of kids. So that will be a very nice thing.
No, but having people like you gives us strength to start something like this, Gargi.
Yeah.
It's also important.
Yeah, just a second. I want to meet you, my daughter, today.
Oh, sure. I'm not, yeah, hi.
Just a
Hello,
second.
Titli.
Yeah, just a second. Let me see if she's at home. Just a second. Titli? Titli. Titli, come here. Come. Come. Look here.
Hello.
Say hi. Nicely. Say hi.
How are you, Titli? You've grown in the last 1 year.
She is growing up pretty fast. Give a flying kiss to him.
God bless you.
Yeah. Okay, Bala.
Take care, ma. We'll keep in touch, and let's do the whole thing, take it to the next level.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
thank you.
God bless you. Have fun. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.